So what I've done here is organized all the blocks within one script, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to take these and apply them to this floor plan. Now this is just a 3D model, just the walls and the openings for a project I'm working on. So what I'll do is start here by creating a surface inside of Rhino. Now keep in mind that it matters how you create it. I'll just go to any of these layers, or it could even be on the default layer, and create a line segment between the start of the middle and the end of the middle. The reason why is because the door is created down the middle, and whenever you increase or decrease it, it's going to be off of that center line. So we'll take this curve and extrude it. We'll do extrude curve, or you can also create a plane in the center with whatever other technique you want. But this way you can ensure that it is organized in the way that it will be the best received by the script. But you can also apply any orientation surface, or however you created it, you can import it, but you're going to have to switch some things around. So we'll start with this one. This will be a pair of doors. So I'll go here to pair of doors, right click, set one surface, and I'll use this to plug in the surface input for that. Now the next thing I want to note is the wall depth. So I know that this is a 3.5 deep wall. So I'll go here to the wall depth, 3.5. But in some cases, you will have material on the inside and material on the outside, so you have to account for that. So if you have that, so let's go, let's say to layer 1. We'll go to extrude surface and extrude this in, let's say by 1 inch, and then we'll extrude the outside one by 2 inches. Now what I need to do is delete that surface and now move it to the center. So I don't necessarily have to delete it, I'll just move it here to move that door, and then create a line segment between the beginning and the end. And then when I select it, I know that that's going to be the midpoint, so I can move the surface to that midpoint. And now I can select that curve and type in length, text 6.5, or we can also input that curve and use that as a length, but we can go here to wall depth, 6.5. Now we can use this as a wall or material. Now what's cool about this is I'm going to hide the other ones. And the way that I like to do that is just select these, middle click, and disable. Just work on the one that you want to work on. So in this one, let's play around with some of the parameters. Now we have the wall depth, the trim offset. Let's change that to 4. Trim material depth at 1. Maybe that's a little bit too much. Fillet trim. That's a rounding off of the edge here. The door depth. Make it 2 inches deep. Closed. You can also open it 90 degrees to the inside. Now we can hide the original surface that we used to bring it in. I do like to keep it close just for now as we change some of the details. And so what I like to do is keep in mind the details that I have on this one, because whatever I use here, I will tend to use on the other ones, especially for the outdoor ones. If this is 4 inches, then I want to make sure I do that for the other ones. Now with this already being taken care of, I like to create different layers for different objects. So the handle is going to be the hardware. So I'll go to a new layer and call this hardware. Then this one is going to be the trim. So I'll go to a new layer, call this trim. And then this one is going to be the door, which I'll create a new layer and call this the door material. So now I'll go to the first one, select it, middle click, and then bake. Same thing with the trim and the door. Now we can change the color so we know exactly what's going on. And so what I'll do here is we have everything being viewed. So we'll go here to a new or disable the preview on this one. And now here, we can apply different materials to the different layers. So the hardware would probably be some kind of metal, trim would be whatever color, and door material would be whatever color the door material. Now let's give it a try with one of these windows. We'll do the same thing. Start by creating a line segment between the inside face and the outside face. And from the midpoint, go all the way across to the other midpoint, perpendicular. And we can extrude this up. So we'll do extrude curve. So we can apply that surface as the input. I'll take this one, I'll enable it, and then set the surface as our surface input and override. Now we do have to enable it here so we see it, and we know that the wall depth was 6.5. The trim offset is 4, which is good. Now we can pick the size for the window. I like to use a frame, let's say of 1 inch, and then for this one, 2.5 or 2 inches or so. This is going to be a horizontal slider, but we can change if it's going to be a vertical this way, or we could also change it here with slider off. So this could technically also create a fixed window. In doing the same thing, we're going to use the trim. We can use the same layer. The frame, well, we're going to duplicate this door layer. We'll call this door / window. And use this, bake it, and create a new layer. Actually, here, let me show you a cool trick. When you right click on the new layer here, delete this. When you right click on the new layer, it actually gives you a new layer with a random color. We'll change this to something more reasonable. Call this glass, then bake this last one into it. Now here's the thing. Since that other window is the exact same, we're going to now go here to not preview anything and select this, copy it over, taking this point to this point, but it has to be projected so we don't move it up or down. So I'm going to now go here into rendered mode. You can see that just by inputting that surface and knowing both the overall depth, the height is taken care of by the surface, you can apply any of these scripts to your design, saving you time and just giving you a base model that you could work with you know, everything already organized here for you. So I'm working on other blocks. I finished organizing these and have them ready for anyone to use. They are based off of inches. So if your project is in feet, there are other things that you would need to do, like changing the units. So maybe that's something that I'll go over a little bit later if you guys have that question. But for now, I wanted to share with you guys the power of what parametric design can do is take your designs and you can create a script where you can apply it to any surface. And you can do that to any of your designs or things that you do over and over again.